The combo of salt, garlic, and chili with crispy pork riblets is so addictive. You're gonna love this. Is your mouth watering yet? Hey everyone, I'm Flo, Dude is behind the camera, and we're all about simple food, simple faith. You know, this combo of salt and garlic and chili is very popular with a lot of different dishes, not just pork riblets. The Chinese term jiuyim actually literally means pepper and salt, is used in a lot of dishes that are deep fried and is especially served at the late night snacking type of menu. In the Chinese culture, we often will go for late night snack, and it's called either 食宵夜 or 打烯, and it is just a time for people to gather and to have kind of snack dishes. And these dried ribs, or sometimes there's these little fishies that are also great with this flavor profile, tofu, lobster, crab, like there's so many things to have with this flavor combo. I have 2 pounds of pork riblets. I've already removed the silver skin from the back so that the marinade can more easily be absorbed into the meat. And I'm just gonna cut it up into the little segments. You want them to be, well, bite-sized pieces, which will happen as I cut in between the bones. Just gonna throw them in my bowl.
You know, the dim sum size of these riblets are even smaller.
Yeah, well, I guess because I buy these at Costco and they come in a much bigger pack. I'm only using 2 of the ribs. I think there are like 5 or 6 of these in a Costco sized bag or package. And if you buy them from an Asian market, you'll probably get them smaller, like maybe about 1 inch, and not like 1.5 inches to 2 inches. It doesn't matter. It's still yummy. We're gonna add the marinade to the meat. So 1 tablespoon of oil, cooking oil. I'm using corn oil today. That's just what I have. 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, and this is just regular soy sauce. 1 tablespoon of rice wine. And if you don't have rice wine, you can just use a dry sherry or maybe a little bit more. We've used bourbon in the past. If you don't want to use the rice wine at all, just omit it. I've got 2 teaspoons of sugar. That just helps to balance out the flavors. Adding 1/2 teaspoon of ground white pepper. And 1/2 teaspoon of 5-spice powder. Oh, it smells so good. Okay, we're just gonna mix this up, let it marinate for about 1/2 hour. The longer you let this marinate, the more flavorful it will be. But if you're short for time, 1/2 hour is gonna do just fine. You can even marinate this overnight. What I'm gonna do is marinate a bunch, because I still have like 3 or 4 racks of this rib left, and just marinate it and toss it in the freezer so that I will have already pre-marinated meat for the next time.
Look at all those great colors on the board.
I know, it's going to be so yummy. I have 4 cloves of garlic. You can use as little or as much as you like. You can add more. We're going to prepare all the remaining ingredients while we're waiting for the pork to marinate. And if you want to use a garlic press, feel free to do that as well. But I have time, so I'm just going to chop everything up. 2 stalks of a green onion. I'm going to separate the white part and the light green part from the dark green. I'm just going to add that to the garlic. Okay. And we're going to cook all that together. And then the dark green, we're going to save for garnish at the end. I have a small bunch of cilantro here, and for all of you who don't like cilantro, you don't have to use it at all. We're just using it because we actually quite like the flavor of cilantro with this dish. And again, you can use as little or as much as you'd like. And I have 1 Thai chili, and I know this is already going to be too much for us, but it brings a lot of color and a lot of heat into the dish. You can use as many as you'd like. It's also called a bird's eye chili, I think. I'm just gonna cut this finely. We're gonna add this also to the garlic and green onions. We're gonna saute all of this in the oils, and it's gonna be, oh, so good. So if you've touched some of this, I would advise that you wash your hands quickly, just in case you touch your face or forbid your eyes. Just gonna make the seasoning salt, and this is just slightly different than the seasoning salt I used in the Taiwanese popcorn chicken. This one has more salt than that one, so you can adjust it however you'd like, but I like to have some of this kind of on hand. So 1 teaspoon of salt, just using kosher, a little bit coarse salt, about 1/4 teaspoon of 5-spice powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of ground white pepper. That's it, that's your seasoning salt. I think for my Taiwanese popcorn chicken, it was equal parts of all 3 ingredients. This one just has a bit more salt. Instead of deep frying, we are using the air fryer today. I've already preheated it at 375, just for a couple of minutes. I'm using about 1/2 cup of sweet potato starch, only because I couldn't find potato starch today. And if you don't have potato starch, which you can usually find in an Asian market, you can always use cornstarch, but it won't be as crispy as the potato starch. So I'm gonna add 1/2 of the ribs in here. The impatient side of me wants to dump everything in there, but I won't.
Thanks for exercising patience.
So I'm gonna have to do this in 2 batches because my air fryer is not very big. So the optimum amount is, well, I shouldn't say optimum amount. The maximum amount I should do at any one given time is 1 pound. There. Just get them nicely coated. I'm gonna put them in. Once they're nicely coated, we're gonna toss them in here, the air fryer. All right, if I stand them up a little bit, I can actually fit more. So let's do that. Ta-da. All right, I'm gonna spray them with some oil. I do find that you should try to coat your pieces with the oil so that you don't get any like uncooked floury bits. I'm just gonna turn these around a little bit so that I can make sure that they are all covered in some vegetable oil. Okay. Still way less oil than if you were to deep fry it. Okay. Putting it in the air fryer at 375 for 8 minutes, and then we're going to flip them and cook for another 8 minutes. So 16 minutes total. All right, just wanted to show you what it looks like at the 8-minute mark. We're just going to move it around a little bit, and they are already feeling quite crispy on the outside. Oh, and it smells amazing. All right, putting it back in for another 8 minutes. All right, let's see what we have. Oh my goodness, they look so good. Okay, I'm gonna pull these out. All right, I'm adding another 1/2 cup or so of the potato starch, sweet potato starch, and adding my remaining pieces. Okay, shake them up. The reason why I'm using the freezer bag actually is that it's just easier to get them evenly coated quickly Otherwise, the can't be bothered side of me wants to just dump the potato starch into the bowl with all the marinade, and then it would just be clumpy and not good. Okay. While the second batch is cooking, we're going to cook up our aromatics. I am using a wok today, so I find that it's easiest to toss all the things in the end. But if you have a large frying pan or even a Dutch oven would do, we want the wok heated up on medium. Once you see a wisp of smoke, you can tell that it's hot enough. So we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of oil, cooking oil. I'm using corn oil today. And we're gonna add our chilies, garlic, and the white and light green parts of the green onion to the oil and slowly cook that. It's just gonna take 30 seconds to about a minute, and then we're gonna turn it off. That's it. How easy was that?
Yeah, you don't want to burn that garlic.
Yeah, you don't want to burn the garlic, but you want all the flavors. The second batch is now done, and so I'm going to heat up my aromatics again just to warm them up. And then I'm going to toss my first batch in there first so that we can warm those back up because they've been sitting a little while now. Okay, while these are warming here for just a minute, I'm going to go grab the other ones. I'll toss these in. Okay, and I just turned off the heat. I'm going to keep tossing this just for a second. Okay, and I'm adding all my greens. And also adding some of that seasoning salt. And you can add as little or as much as you'd like. Whatever you're comfortable with. Give it a quick toss. And I'm gonna put it on a plate.
Oh, the aromas flow. It's so good.
It smells delicious. All right, just adding a few chilies for garnish to make it look a little bit prettier. Are you all ready for?
Yup. The taste. The presentation of just coming out of the air fryer alone is amazing. Check that out, guys. Listen to that crispiness. You know, ribs like this, you can either have it as a main at dinner time or, you know, like happy hour with a beer or wine. This is perfect. You don't need to go to the bar. Have it at home. Oh, so good. The flavors, spot on. And the crispiness, amazing for an air fryer, amazing. The pork is cooked perfectly, juicy and tender, and then crisp on the outside. I could easily mistake this for deep fried, for real. And add a little bit more of that seasoning, see how that goes. See if it affects or adds to the flavor, not just a little bit. And again, Flo, as you said, add as little or as much as you want, even after the fact. Just go for it, right? Yeah, extra pop of the umami. Oh, my Atlanta. Guys, so good. Oh, heavenly.
Awesome, thanks, dude. I can't wait to dig into that. For a recipe just as delicious, check out popcorn chicken in my cookbook here or in the video. I'll see you over there.